Welcome everyone to another Retro Alcove. I'm finally getting around to doing a Raspberry Pi video. It's something I've been wanting to do for a very long time, but I had a good friend ask me to set up a new Raspberry Pi 5. Usually I have an image built out with this with RetroPie and stuff like that. However, there's no official release yet for it. So I'm using a Bacotera Image, 512 gigabytes. I'll link in the description. The equipment I'm using, where I got it from, and everything else like that. However, this is a Wolfanoz image for Bacotera, so I will not link that, but you can Google that and find it for yourself. In addition to that, I'm also testing my new 8Bitdo Ultimate Bluetooth controller that has ability to do Bluetooth and 2.4 gigahertz as well, so it can work on your Switch, can work on your PC, can work on anything that has Bluetooth or with a USB 2.4 gigahertz controller. Something I noticed when setting this up initially is you have to have a mouse or keyboard or another USB controller in there, because by default on this image, Bluetooth is not automatically enabled. So you have to go in there with another USB device, turn it on, sync it up, and it's a relatively easy process. And then you go through and map all your buttons. What's nice about this is it has both trigger buttons, it has 2 analog sticks, it even has little back buttons as well, so you're able to program all your hotkeys and everything else like that that you want to do. I'm just going to kind of go over what is in this image, play some of my favorite games as well to test out the limitations of the new Raspberry Pi 5, 8 gigs of RAM. So let's get into it, shall we? This is kind of everything that is here. There's a lot of games on here. So we have arcades, favorites, light guns, which is something I'm going to be testing at some point in time, because I do have a USB light gun, and see how these really work on here. Right now my buddy has it. We have arcade games. I don't think it says how many are in here, but there's an awful lot. Amstrad, Apple II, what we got in here? Wow. These are really old games. We'll get into that. Daphne, MAME, which is going to be your biggest one, 374 games. Atari 659, Atari 800, 577. Just kind of going through and seeing what is on here. Even some WonderSwan, ColecoVision, Commodore 64, which is a lot. Channel F, which is the first cartridge-based video game system ever created. I do have one. It's just right over there. It's really interesting to see Vectrex 24 games, which I do happen to have, but it's really hard to do a capture on this because, well, it's built into the system itself. MS-DOS, MSX, TurboGrafx 16, CD, SuperGrafx 5 games. That is accurate. Game & Watch 59. It's missing a couple. Nintendo 864, which is more than the standard, but there are disk systems as well, and there are hacks and ROMs, stuff like that. Super Nintendo, which I'll be testing here shortly. Satellaview, which is an interesting system that has items on the Virtual Boy. Once again, another thing hard to capture. I plan on doing one of these at some point in time because I'm able to replicate 3D graphics on the Virtual Boy. 64, 303 games, color. 64DD. Now this is interesting. I have never seen 64DD on any image that I've ever created. Some GameCube, we'll kind of get into these. Wii Video Pack, which is a really old system as well, which I happen to have. And some ports. What ports do we have? Doom, Duke Nukem Cave Story, Quake, kind of the standard stuff that you expect to see in ports. A Thomas Wave, SG-1000, which is a system I do not have, but I'm able to replicate on the Master System. Genesis, 901 games, Game Gear, Sega CD, Saturn, 48 games, 32X, Model 3. Interesting. So the arcade system, that's pretty cool. Dreamcast, we'll get into a couple of these games, but just for testing purposes, let's get into a game that I know perfectly well. Let's get into this. Okay. Ooh, an extra life right off the bat. This is playing pretty well. Said this is a game I know inside out. If you watch Retro Alcove, you know that I have played this game an awful lot, and that we took care of it on an entire episode of Mega Man X, where Forz and I playing, be playing, but Forz being there with me. Okay, I'm just gonna play through the first level here. Looks great, plays great. I can't complain about this. No delay on my end here, which is great, which is going through a capture device. So can't complain about this at all. Controller feels great. All right. Okay. Sounds good, looks good. I remember the first time playing this was when I was a kid. I'm like, oh man, I can't defeat this guy. Well, like I said, it's vile. You're not supposed to defeat him. You're supposed to die. So, not die, but get hurt. And here comes Zero to save the day. That's nice, Zero. Now, I have save state, so I should be able to go save state. You hit your hotkey plus what you have set, which is Y, so it automatically saved it. Now, if I want to load, and there it loads. So you have the ability to save state, which is really, really nice on these older games because they didn't, well, have save states. And this is why I have no problem with emulation for older systems, is because you're able to save state. As you know, for Retro Alcove, we do have fun times playing save states and stuff like that. Just because we try to play this, you know, on its original hardware as much as humanly possible. So, but save states does make our lives a little bit easier, especially with these older games, because like I said, they didn't have save states. You had to play it all at once. So, oh, this is weird using the analog stick. not the analog stick, yeah, the analog stick instead of the D-pad. I'm just trying out with the analog stick versus the D-pad. Said I am really digging this 8Bitdo controller. Like I said, it's my first time having the ultimate one. I wanted to get with the Raspberry Pi just to see how Bluetooth worked with it, just because, you know, there are games that require analog sticks. And instead of having multiple controllers for each system like I do for USB, I just wanted to see how a single one worked across all of this. So question is how. Okay. All right. Let's try. Let's try an N64 game and see how that controls, because that systems and emulations seem to have a difficult time sometimes with Raspberry Pis, especially the 64, just because of what it is. Let's try Mario Kart. And you have the bezels here that you can change. I'm leaving up there kind of the default image here.
Welcome to Mario Kart. Mario Grand Prix. Select your player. Select match.
Alright, let's see here. I said 64 is very different, so I'm interested to see how this translates into a 64. Alright. Alright, so yeah, usually it's your Z button that does this. Let's see. Drift still works pretty good. Still a banana. Alright, so your right analog stick is your C buttons from the 64 controller on here. Good to know. Oh, shut up, Toad. Alright, I'm just not going to do too much here, but this is working pretty well. Now, this music is somewhat annoying here. Let's try a more intensive system here. Let's do a Sega Saturn. Something that we don't typically do a lot of on Retro Alcove for the time being. Interesting. There we go. Let's see how Mortal Kombat Trilogy looks. Ooh, I do like the box art. That is pretty beefy and fast. I mean, let's face it, Sega Saturn was clunky and slow because of the 1X CD drive. Let's see here. So this is interesting because that's a 6-button controller plus the shoulder button. So let's see what these do. Yes, yes, yes. Mortal Kombat. I didn't mean to use Striker, but I guess I'm using Striker for this testing.
Choose your destiny.
I'm quite a novice at this. Alright, Striker, what you got? Yeah, load times just like a Sega Saturn is.
Fight.
Okay, so your block is LB and RB, your punches are still there.
Striker wins.
Okay.
Fight.
Okay.
Wins.
So that does work. Okay. Let's see here. Let's try a Dreamcast game. So we don't do many of these. Tony Hawk Pro Skater. That is a good sound. Ah, yes, Dreamcast. Something, once again, that we haven't touched a lot on. Let me know in the comments below if this is something you want to see us do more of. Dreamcast as we get into these retro systems. Yeah, this was my jam here. Let's do a single session. We'll be the Birdman himself. These were great soundtracks for Punk and for yes. Bad Religion. This is my. There's a place where everyone can be happy. It's my beautiful world. I do not know the controls for this. Alright, I don't want to get copyright struck for Bad Religion. I love me some Bad Religion. Oh man, Neo Geo Pocket. Let's see how a PSP goes here. All the Final Fantasies. Let's try some God of War. So this should be more of a good translation because the PSP had that there. I personally am going to work on getting rid of these overlays on my system.
Kratos, the ghost of Sparta, had taken his place amongst the Olympians as the god of war. The bloodshed, the relentless battles had finally
Kratos.
brought him here. Ares was dead, and though Olympus beckoned, visions of his mortal existence still haunted him.
It's been a very long time since I played this game.
Kratos knew that this was not a mere vision.
Oh, this is playing great.
For with the gods, nothing was ever as it seemed. The vision of his past set Kratos in search of answers. Answers.
I said, so this is Retro, a link to the past. You can look it up online. Oh man, Othello multiplayer. Let's see here. Let's try out a Wii game here. Just see how this plays. Oh no, my wrist strap. Oh wait. Oh man, that is a classic sound right there. Sure, why not? That was weird, is it was... Alright, that's a little choppy. Oh, there might be some finagling I have to do to make this work. Yeah, this is not controlling very well here. No. Okay. Well, that's why we test these. Alright, last thing to try would be... Let's try a GameCube game. Alright. Sure, why not? Okay, let's see here. All right, well, this looks atrocious. Nope. So maybe with some finagling, this will work. So, like I said, it's an interesting build. Like I said, it is using Bacotera, you know, Retro Alcove. I'm saying his name wrong. Link to the Past. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the Raspberry Pi 5. It is more powerful. Like I said, there's some tweaking that you probably have to do. I'll link to some guides on how to fix that for like the Wii and the GameCube, because I had no issues in the past working stuff like that. So I am digging this 8BitDo controller. It has everything you could possibly want, even comes with a charging station because it has rechargeable batteries. It does have little back buttons too you can program to do other things as well. I will link everything below, and let me know if you want to see more videos like this, diving into other systems, other retro systems, emulation, stuff like that. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time in Retro Alcove. Bye.